We've come to Italy to see a very special car in the metal for the first time. It is, of course, the new Honda Civic Type R. More specifically, it's the brand new FL5 generation, and evidently it's a lot more mature than before. It's a lot sleeker and a lot calmer, but don't let that fool you into thinking the CTR has gone soft. This is meant to be the fastest, most aggressive Honda Civic Type R that has ever been made. Now today, I'm not actually allowed to drive it, but I'm going to run you through all the key features and go out on a passenger lap to at least get a little bit of a taste of what the new car is like. I'm Cam Tate, and this is PistonHeads.
Remember to head over to PistonHeads.com to research and buy your next car.
The old car was a very divisive look indeed. A lot of people thought it was over-designed and just a little bit too garish. This new car has also proved to be a little bit divisive, but almost on the other way round. People think that it almost looks a little bit too boring, but when you actually see it in the metal, there's a lot to love. Now, first up, I want to talk about the old car's front bumper, which was very complicated and a little bit on the messy side. And clearly here, it's a lot sleeker, but that's all for good reason. The old car had a lot of fake vents, but everything that you see here on the Civic Type R is purposeful. For instance, we've got this little grille down the front here, which actually channels air into the intercooler and then out the top here of the bonnet. We also have little inlets down the side here, and those are to cool the brakes. That's something that Honda has really focused on the Civic Type R, is to really improve the cooling. So basically you can go lap after lap without overheating the brakes or the tires. Also notice the extra lip down the side here of the car. That shows you just how much wider the Civic Type R is compared to the standard car. It doesn't always show up in championship white, but it's when you're here in person, you can see that it is just a little bit wider, although I don't have an official number for that just yet. What I do know, however, is that the front wheels are actually 20 millimeters wider than the car before. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the car is 20 millimeters wider, but you have a larger contact patch at the front of the car. The diameter of the rim is also a little bit smaller. The old car was a 20-inch wheel. We now have 19s on here. That's designed to make the car just a little bit lighter, improve inertia, and also, I'm hoping, improve comfort too. Crucially though, this is a big addition. Although it seems quite small, the old car came with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tyres. We now have Pilot Sport 4S's. They are much stickier, and trust me, out on track, they make a big difference. Moving further around, we have a vent down the side here. Again, that's all just to improve cooling. It's a lot more subtle than the old FK8 Civic Type R, which had a very large bolted on assembly right here. I believe that was non-functioning, but again, on here, it's all designed to channel air and reduce air pressure from the front wheel arch to reduce drag. Now, we do have a side skirt running down here. Again, apparently it has some minor aerodynamic benefit, but this little fin here is designed to channel air around the rear wheels, again, all in the name of reducing drag. Changes at the back are plentiful as well. The thing that really stands out, apart from this thing, I'll go over that in a moment, is we've got a much wider diffuser. Now, yes, allegedly it does generate downforce, but what's interesting here is it actually forms part of the undertray to just help scoop out air from underneath the car and again, reduce drag. The rear wing as well is very different. The old car had this rather ugly, in my view anyway, plasticky one-piece spoiler, whereas now it's a multi-piece design, and it's functional too. So we actually have aluminium struts either side of the wing. Not only are they lighter, but they actually reduce the contact patch of the underside of the wing. And apparently this is the big downforce generator, the underside of it. So the only number I have so far is that it generates 92 kilograms of downforce at 200 kilometers an hour over the regular Civic, but still, it just reinforces that idea that this car is much more function over form over the previous car.
Honda is being super cagey about the performance specs, and it seems we won't know the full details for a while yet. The engine is the familiar 2-litre turbocharged VTEC motor, which in the old FK8 developed 320 horsepower. Improvements include a 2-piece water jacket for cooling the engine, more blades inside the turbocharger to reduce inertia, and a lightweight crankshaft. Word on the street is the FL5 produces considerably more power, but whether that's 5 horsepower or 50 horsepower, we just don't know yet. And as soon as we do, I'll jump in the comments to let you know.
Yes, there are a lot of small refinements when it comes to the performance upgrades on this car, but I think the biggest standout difference between this and the old car is the interior design and the interior quality. It is a vast upgrade on the old car. Not only is it a lot more simple, but everything just feels like it's built a little bit better. It's much nicer on the eyes, and if anything, I just kind of think it reinforces that traditional Civic Type R look. We've got upgraded sport seats in here that should hug you a little bit tighter when you're hammering it around on a racetrack, and there's a lot of red as well. The seats are now entirely red, as are the carpets, which is very EK9 Civic Type R. I also love the Type R badge on the dashboard. It is a tiny touch, but it shows the build number of your car, and it makes what is ultimately a high production car feel just that little bit more special. Now, something that previous Type R owners were calling for was a customizable driver mode, because there was nothing more frustrating than wanting to open up the exhaust, but you then had to suffer a much stiffer ride. Well, now you can do so by holding up on the driver mode selector, and then you have lots of different options that you can go to. So we can change the engine settings, steering, suspension, engine sound, even the rev matching, which has been slightly upgraded over the previous one as well. Not that it really felt like it needed upgrading, but it just shows you can really customize the Civic Type R the way you want it to be. Granted, I don't think this system is nearly as good as what you get on Hyundai's N. It just looks a little bit better if you're in something like an i30N, but it's a massive step up over the old car. Another interesting thing as well is the dashboard is completely digital. Now, when you're running in the standard mode, you actually just have 2 conventional digital dials, but if you put it in Plus R, which is everything in its most hardcore setting, then you actually get an old F1 style digital readout for your tacho. It's small things like that, and some people may struggle with the move over to a fully digital system, but personally, I'm all for it, and it just makes this new Civic Type R feel like this lovely hybrid of Type Rs of old and looking towards the future.
Right, enough of the details, time to see what the Civic Type R is like from the passenger seat. I mean, I'd much rather be driving the thing, but if there's anyone who can show me what the CTR is capable of, it's WTCR driver and F1 podium finisher, Tiago Monteiro.
Oh, that is insane, Greg. That is insane. Okay, so Tiago was pointing out that the most noticeable difference that he's found in this new Civic is under braking.
Yes.
Now, being a passenger, particularly when you've got a racing driver next to you, it really amplifies all the sensations from the passenger seat than you would really experience in the driver's seat, but this is noticeably incredible under braking. It really feels like, at least from the passenger seat, quite light and very, very, very responsive under braking.
And what they were explaining about the steering wheel, you know,
Yes.
I cannot explain, but the feeling is so nice when you exit the corner. You don't have to really force the steering, just smoothly going down.
More intuitive.
Yeah.
So another improvement that he's saying is the steering has also been reworked. It feels just a little bit more intuitive. So you don't feel like you're applying a lot of lock to correct any understeer, being a front wheel drive car. So it just behaves a bit more naturally, and I'm kind of feeling that again a little bit from the passenger seat. Another aspect that I'm really getting is we've got the new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres. They are doing a lot of work. A good set of tyres really improve the performance of a car, particularly on track. And the grip is just insane. I can't believe that a Honda Civic is this.
That fast and that grip, it's crazy.
It's just so unbelievably sticky. We've got a really fast left-right chicane on this circuit, which we went through earlier, and I could not believe just how planted this car is.
There you go.
Very, very, very quick. Thank you, man. Wow, what an experience. It's
When you think it's a road legal car,
fast.
and at that price, I mean, it's so, I mean, you you can have so much fun.
Can I change gear?
Yeah, go
Whack it. What are we in?
Let me get a bit of speed.
Yeah. So I'm going to change gear into third. Oh, it's a beautiful shifter. That's the closest I can get to driving it today.
Second again. Second. Third. It's very short, isn't it? I mean, it's quite.
It's a very short
I
throw.
think the last one was pretty much similar, to be honest, but so direct, so precise.
Yes.
I mean, even when you saw you're jumping,
Yeah.
and you're turning, so I'm a bit like, and it's easy to find.
It's it's such a short throw. Again, it is kind of a little bit like the old CTR in the way it responded, but that's a good thing. It had one of the best shifters out there. Tiago, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. You're a legend. Much appreciated.
Hope you enjoyed it.
It's hard to really feel what it's like from the passenger seat, but as Tiago had pointed out to me in the car definitely feels a lot stronger under braking in a way I've just not felt from a hatchback before. Yes, it's also stiffer and it's got more downforce, but one of the elements that really sticks out is the much stickier tyres. Those Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's just transform the car and make it feel so much more suited to the track. It behaves in a way I simply wasn't expecting, but that's about all I can say at the moment. I just need to get in and drive the car. So come on, Honda, give me an invite. I'm desperate to get behind the wheel. And if you want to watch our review, of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button because we'll be the first to have it right here at PistonHeads.